Cheating. It happens in video games. Quite often, in fact. Splatoon is notorious for not having anti-cheat, and I'm told some even do it in Tetris 99. Frickin' Tetris. But the game series that I and many others are most familiar with this with is Pokémon. I dealt with and even faced several cheaters throughout my time with the series, and I'm ready to rat them out, so let's get into it. Let's begin at the beginning. That's right, Gen 1, Red and Blue. There are quite a few glitches and exploits in these games, but perhaps the most famous was the one that spawned Missing No and M-Block. And also duplicated items. Two people I played with did this to create infinite rare candies and jack all their Pokemon right up to level 100. When we fought, they used their inflated levels to steamroll me, but when we rematched months later, something interesting happened. That time, the winner was me, and quite handily too. Both of them were pretty mystified and confused. I think I was viewed slightly with suspicion, but given that they were the ones that had cheated and duped their candies, what could they really say? I claimed it was because I raised my Pokemon with love, rather than just pumping them full of steroids, but really I was just as perplexed and just kinda trying to sound cool. Sure, it was a cheesy line, but hey, I was like 10. You see, back then the internet wasn't as prevalent and data miners were far and few between, so while this glitch might have made it into books full of video game cheat codes, EVs and how you accrued them did not. My Pokemon were just naturally stronger because I raised them in battle and thus received effort values for their effort. Felt pretty good. Of course, I wasn't innocent from cheating myself. The first time I used the same glitch, I caught a Missing No. The game started getting kinda weird afterwards. Some sprites were not what they should have been, and yeah, things just got funky, but luckily I didn't save, so I was able to revert to before I threw my ball. The second time, I used it to get infinite Master Balls. It was a little hypocritical, since I did criticize others for just raising their Pokemon up on ill-gotten candies, when I did the same thing with Master Balls and could just catch whatever I wanted, but again, I was 10. Give me a break. It might be part of the reason why in most subsequent games I never use my Master Ball, as some sort of penitence. The other gen I have a lot of experience with cheaters in is Gen 4. I got really into the games again with Diamond version and thus played with quite a few people. While I might have lost some enthusiasm during Gen 3, I still played those games, so that gave me the most experience, and when transferring opened up in the game, the most Pokemon as well. This led to no one in my friend group being able to touch me, and once again, I was winning pretty easily. That is, until something odd happened. One of my friend's siblings got a used copy of the game, and before they reset the save file, they traded him over all the strong Pokemon on the cartridge. This led to a showdown where I was the one that got destroyed, primarily by Whaleren. This struck me as strange, and while I did think it was kinda lame that they needed to use borrowed Pokemon to beat me, a loss was a loss and I was no longer undefeated in our friend group. Imagine my vindication when we picked up Battle Revolution for the Wii, and when it came time to load our teams up into the game, all the Pokemon he used to roll me were labeled bad eggs, indicating that they were hacked. I'm still kind of upset about that. While I might be a good Christian individual, that's one thing I can't forgive. Probably have a poor set of life priorities. Then there was the kid at Toys R Us. Gen 4 in particular had a lot of mythicals, and to get them you had to go to a retail location and download it off of their Wi-Fi during a promotion. Once I went to Toys R Us to get, I don't remember, so let's say Darkrai, and as I had my DS out to grab the Pokemon, a kid several years younger than me asked if I wanted to battle. If I had to guess ages, I'd say I was probably 17 and he was 12. Anyway, so I agree to fight, we settle on the rule set, and we each select our team. And as we do so, he tells me that he hacked his Pokemon to give them moves that they didn't normally have. I was pretty steamed. It didn't help him much as I wiped out his team while only having one of my Pokemon fading, but still, who challenges someone and then tells them that they're going to cheat right as they begin? The kid said good game when we were done, and while I should have just been polite about it, given the age gap, I was not terribly mature at the time, so I just kinda shuffled away without a word. With age comes the wisdom that I should have said good game back and then advised him that you shouldn't challenge someone with a hack team unless they agree to it in the rule set. I still feel a little bad about that. But that's not all. I may have cheated myself in Diamond, though in my case, it was unintentional if I did. You see, back then, I was part of a text-based role-playing forum. Yes, I am very cool. Most of the regulars on the site played Pokémon as well, and we traded and battled a lot. There were a few who hacked, some for laughs, like giving Snorlax Fly, and others to make competitive builds. At one point, I really wanted a Salamence, and asked around for someone to give me a Bagon egg. One of the hackers offered to give me one and asked what sort of stats I wanted. I told him that I just wanted a Bagon egg, no hacking, and asked him to just breed me a regular one and send it, to which he agreed. I hatched it, named her Hildy, and she became my ace and baby. She never left my party. Even when she reached max level, I still kept her with me for companionship and insurance. She became notorious among my friend group, and she always seemed abnormally strong. When we did Battle Revolution, she never got flagged, so I never suspected. Thinking back though, while she wasn't hacked to have weird moves, abilities, or higher than possible stats, it is quite possible that my online friend did manipulate her data a little bit to give her a better nature and max IVs. He may have even bred for her like normal, producing an unhacked egg from 2 hacked parents, making Hildy's legitimacy questionable at the very least. I love that Salamence, and I don't want to think of her as a cheat, but my lingering doubts may at least partly be why I haven't transferred up anything from Gen 4, despite the absurd number of level 100s I raised and all of my legendaries. And finally, there's one of the computer cheats. Most famous of this is probably how only player characters have PP in some of the earlier games, making it so that the computers can spam moves without any concern for the long game. More than that though is there's sometimes too spot on intuition. Have you ever thrown out a Pokemon that's a bad matchup for your opponent, so you swap out to a better choice, only to have them use a move that's super effective against your new Mon? Perhaps they read your inputs, or maybe it's all in your head and they would have used that move anyway. If this isn't just paranoia and the CPU does sometimes look over your shoulder to read your turn choice, it at least isn't always the case. In Shining Pearl, I would actively bait some moves with switch outs, doing stuff like putting out a normal type, then swapping to a ghost to make the opponent eat dirt on high jump kick. There was one game though where the computer would decide on a move based on current circumstances rather than what's out at the beginning of the turn. In Pokemon Coliseum, I was once up against an NPC in a double battle, and we were both down to our final Pokemon. I had Ampharos, he had Heracross. The Heracross was faster and was doing more than half my HP in a turn, so there was no reason to heal. I did have an Espeon I could revive, but he would also fall on one hit. Thinking about it though, Espeon should be faster, and since they weren't currently on the field, Heracross could only target my Ampharos. I could sack Amphy, revive Espeon, and attack first next turn to end the match. I pulled out the revive and prepared Ampharos to take the hit, only for Espeon to be targeted and knocked out instead. I experimented later to see if I could attack a non-present Pokemon myself in another battle, but nope. You can only strike what's out at the start of a turn, so yes, the CPU definitely cheated in Coliseum. I was annoyed to say the least. And those are all my tales of dirty, stinkin' cheating in Pokemon, with even some of my own sins included. If you have any stories of your own, I would love to hear about them in the comments. For now though, thanks for watching, and maybe consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video.